Radhe Radhe. Welcome to the beginning of another live Sangha. May this be an offering to Sri Radha Krishna. And as we await our first guests to arrive, allow me to set the intention for this space as being a welcoming, all-inclusive environment, open to everyone, regardless of background, identity, orientation, belief system, what color shoes you're wearing, regardless of anything in which we may categorize each other on the surface by. But at heart, let us become united as fellow students of life, here on this adventure to uplift each other, relate in one another's experience, and share positive sentiments. And hello, Danzuela. You are the first one here. And hello, Cole. Happy to have you here. I hope that everything in your life right now is something that you are able to hold with patience and acceptance as you are surely transforming inwardly and out. Hello, Nish. Namaste. And hello, Matt. And hello, Cobb Dan. And thank you, J. Judy Jude, for your heart me. Hariom Tat Sat. And hello, Emily. I'm doing well today. Thank you. Played a game of pool with my friend, and then I had a banana split afterwards. Pretty good day. Hello, J. Judy Jude. Welcome. Now you all are some of the first guests here, which means that you all get to entertain me with answers to my question of the day. If you are interested, you don't have to answer, of course, but I am curious. Today I'm wondering, in what way are we all equal? There are certainly many ways in which we are different. We have different personalities, different knowledge bases, different skill sets, talents, memories, fears, desires, aspirations. But in what way are we all equal? And thank you, Tatwamasi, for your quintet of roses. Hariom Tat Sat. Mr. Wizard, you say, we all die. The great equalizer, they call it. You are very right. And thank you, Marnie. I am happy that you find some prettiness here. Sky Guardian, you as well. We all grow old and die. As the Buddha discovered, no one can escape old age, disease, and death. It is a fact of life. And Medium Jackie, you share we all have a soul. That is a wonderful observation. Indeed. Mike, you share we all have potential. I love that also. Yes. Sometimes we might not be exercising it, but it's there. And hello, Chloe Evans. Jay Nipes, you share. Yes, you were going to say, we all end up in the same place. I like that. J. Judy Jude, you say, we all have bones, blood, and water in our bodies. This is true, we are made of the same stuff, aren't we? Maybe rearranged differently. American, Bolshevik, you share, we are equal in our need for oxygen. It is true, isn't it? I don't know anyone here that doesn't use this lovely ethereal substance all around us as we breathe. in and out. Dansuela, you share, we are all experiencing consciousness and trying to interpret it to the best of our abilities. Now that is a very equalizing experience. Absolutely. And Puzzle 369, I see you sent me a TikTok, a GG, a finger heart, and a fire. Thank you. Radhe Radhe. Hello, Live by Love. Hello, Sherlock. I haven't seen you in a while. Forks or spoons? This is a question that you have not asked me in a long time. But I am happy to have you here. And Alfie, you share that at birth we are all equal, at the same level of life and conditioning. I see the truth in that. Your friend Edmo was asking about you yesterday. And thank you, Trevor, for your heart me. Hariom Tatsa. Cool. You share, we all come from the same place. I like that a lot. Yes. Whatever we have come into existence from, that is our shared home, isn't it? And Deborah, you share, we all get here the same way. Yes. And thank you, Dob Darker, for your heart me. Jai Sitaram. Live by love, you ask. Yeah. Do I believe in God? I believe in you. And I believe that whatever you believe in, I am here to support and help you on your way there, as we all have the same destination, don't we? And thank you for asking, Chloe Evans. I am doing well. And thank you, Betty Elf. We all need love. I love that, Emily. And thank you, Betty Elf, for your rose as well. Radhe Radhe. Cheshire's Moon, you share. We share the same consciousness. That sounded like a tongue twister. But yes, one consciousness, many minds. Hari Om. Thank you, Puzzle. A fear of death, says A. I think that is certainly a very common thing indeed. And Mike, you share, we all need compassion. Yes, we do, don't we? Jush, you ask a funny question. Do I think every thought we have ever thought has been thought before? I like this question. It inspires me to try to think of a truly new thought that has never been thought. Okay, I'll go for it. Jack Black riding a tiger down the yellow brick road carrying a spoon, and in that spoon are 3 raisins. One of those raisins is named Greg and the other 2 don't have names. Within one of those raisins that don't have names is a smaller version of Jack Black doing the exact same thing, like a fractal all the way down. There. Have any of you thought that before? Maybe in the last universe, hey? And thank you, Barbara Lynn Brooke, for your rose. Ariom Tatsat. And yes, I agree, Tatvamasi. The awareness, giving us consciousness is one. Different experiences, same observer. And, well, you're thinking it now, Don Suela says. It's true. Hello, Annie MJ. Marcos Daly, you say Rick and Morty vibes on that one. That is funny. And you share, you're new to my channel. Well, welcome. This is an all-inclusive space. And thank you, Betty L, for your popcorn too. Jai Sitaram. G to Infinity, you share that you think this is too obvious, and already said, we all come from a mother, the divine feminine. Nothing is too obvious, my friend. I love that answer. And even if it was shared before, it deserves to be said again. And Stoic Dad, you share, we're all born equal, but we quickly separate from each other. Yes. Like a chaos game. Small changes in initial configuration can lead to drastically different outcomes. Thank you, Cassie. Peace and love to you too. Radhe Radhe to you, Nish, and Radhe Radhe Beast Mode Bandito. The labor of pain, says Turtle Emoji, also known as burnt cake. The labor of pain, indeed, that's what the Buddhists say. They say there's one thing that unites all of us, and it's that we all experience suffering. The first noble truth. Sherlock said, in reference to my thought of Jack Black carrying a spoon. A spoon, you say? Any particular reason it wasn't a fork? Perhaps it was a Freudian slip of me, and I have secretly revealed my fondness for spoons over forks. Thank you, Trevor, for your 10 team bracelets too. Jai Sitaram. And Rowan Ski J, you ask? Or, sorry, just got a little confused. Thank you for that heart me, Rowan, for your heart me. It wasn't a question. Maybe you did also have a question. Thank you. And thank you, Annie, for your heart me too. Hariom Tat Sat. Green, you share that we are all equal because if we weren't all worthy, you wouldn't exist. We're all worthy of existence. I love that. We wouldn't be here without that worthiness to experience this life. Very true. Because the universe doesn't make any mistakes. It's conscious and it's super intelligent. I like that. The fact that we are having this conversation means the universe validated our existence. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And with such a powerful answer to the question of the day, we'll pause our introspection there. But I thank you, everyone, for entertaining me. I believe it is helpful to remember all the ways in which we are equal, so we don't get too distracted by the ways that we are different. And hello, Sagiko. And thank you, Brandon Rogers, for your hand hearts, and your rose and cap and another rose. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Brandon, you share that you do want me to know that I have helped you. Thank you, Brandon. Truly, all the help that I have offered is but a reflection of your own ability to help yourself. And for that, I think you should be proud of who you are and your openness to help yourself. Your 12 days off gambling and a substance you won't mention. Good for you, Brandon. That's really happy. That makes me really happy to hear. You've got this. I know it isn't easy. Yes, I do remember. And although I certainly can't take any ownership for the effort that you have applied, it's really admirable and inspiring for everyone else here. Now, thank you, a single period. What is your lovely name again? Fedora. Yes, thank you for your 4 roses and ice cream cone. Hari Om Tat Sat. Thank you, Brandon. You are a lovely guest here, and you are always welcome. And if ever you are having a low moment where it is difficult on your journey, you are always welcome to message me. And I will do my best to help. I know that addictions can be a tough thing to transcend, but it is always possible. And thank you for your trio of paper cranes as well. Jai Sitaram. And thank you, Fedora, for your rose as well. 2 of them I see. Now, why don't we read from another section of Roar the Ganges? I like to start my lives with a question of the day followed by a little reading. And we are almost done reading this book together, which is an impressive feat considering that it is more than 300 pages and we've only read a few each day. And I'm so lovely. I keep saying that. I'm so happy to hear that, Chris Fox. That's lovely as well. Yes, we are going to be reading from another section of Roar the Ganges. This is written by Swami Tadatmananda, who, as his name implies, is a Swami, which is a kind of monk. There are Catholic monks, and there are Buddhist monks, and there are Jain monks. A Swami is a kind of Hindu monk. So, most of this book was preparing for him to become a Swami. Before he was a Swami, he was someone not so different than you and I. He was born in America and was a computer scientist and even was married to his high school sweetheart. But after he discovered that his happiness was not found in either of those places, he went on a bit of a spiritual search, and it has ultimately culminated in his initiation into the Saraswati order, a very ancient lineage of Hindu monks who renounce the world, the material existence, and dedicate their life to a spiritual pursuit, which is very interesting. This chapter is called Surfing the Infinite Ocean. We gathered for Satsang, spiritual gathering, with Swami Dayananda just after class. This would be our last opportunity before his departure in the afternoon. All ashram residents and guests crowded near, even our guru. Sorry, not our guru. Swami Dayananda is the guru. This is a different Swami. Swami Sudhananda, who had set aside his work. No one spoke for a few minutes. It seemed as though we were all savoring these last minutes with our guru. The ashram was like an extended family, with Swami Dayananda as its grandfatherly patriarch. His arrival here a few days ago was joyously celebrated, and his absence would be deeply felt. Swami Dayananda chatted merrily about his plans to fly to Coimbatore via Bombay before inviting questions about the morning class. Our British friend Richard, full of queries as always, asked, "Swamiji, last night you explained that Ishvara, God, is both the intelligence and the material because of which everything exists. Then in this morning's class, you said that Brahman is the absolute truth, the reality underlying everything, even Ishvara. Now I am confused. What is the difference between the two?" Good question. What is the difference between God and the absolute truth? Or what is their relationship? A mischievous grin came to Swami Dayananda's lips. In answer to Richard's question, he began to narrate a wonderful story that illustrates the relationship between Brahman and Ishvara. This story he had elsewhere described as his favorite tale. On the sparkling surface of the blue-gray ocean near Northern California coastline, a wave skimmed along under the midday sun. The placid wave enjoyed riding the currents and chatting with nearby waves as she cruised across the vast sea. One day, she spied something strange and menacing in the distance. A dark streak appeared on the horizon, where before she had seen only water without end. Soon, the muted shapes of craggy bluffs and stands of Monterey pines came into view on the shoreline stretching out ahead. The wave had never seen land before. She stared at the rugged coast, transfixed by a peculiar mixture of fascination and fear. As she watched, wave after wave rushed towards the shore and dashed upon the rocks, leaving only wisps of white foam to wash up on the beach. Her fear turned to horror when she realized that she, together with all the other waves, was destined to die in the crashing surf ahead. Terrified, she struggled with all her might to turn around and swim back towards the open sea, but it was no use. She was soon exhausted by her futile attempt and bobbed helplessly in the water as the relentless current pushed her closer and closer to the deadly rocks. Nearby were other waves which, to her amazement, seemed happy and unconcerned. She wondered if they had not yet seen the coastline ahead. She called out, "Hey, don't you see the shore? Aren't you afraid of dying?" "Oh, don't worry about the shore," a foolhardy wave replied. "It's so very far away. Besides, there's nothing you can do. You might as well forget about it and enjoy life while you can." This advice seemed foolish to her. The shore was fast approaching, and death was certain. How could these waves be so naive, so carefree even in the face of death? She wondered. Then she noticed their stained expressions and nervous laughs. She began to suspect that they too were fearful, but were trying hard not to think about the menacing shoreline ahead. They sought only to distract themselves, to hide from this grisly truth, but she could not subscribe to their delusion. I wish I could pretend all is well, she thought, but I can't shut away the awful truth from my mind as they try to do. Besides, they can't hide from the truth much longer. Fighting off despair and panic, she wondered if anyone had discovered a way to avoid dying on the rocks. She began to ask other waves whether they knew any solution to this deadly dilemma. Most thought she was foolish. Be practical, they said. You must learn to accept your fate, however dreadful it is. Desperately seeking help, she continued inquiring until she spotted a group of waves bowed in prayer. She approached them respectively and asked, "Can you save me?" A solemn wave paused to address her. "O pitiful wave, you must live a pious and prayerful life. Then, after you die, you will go to the glorious great ocean and enjoy eternal bliss." "How can I know for certain I will go there?" she asked. "If you believe what we believe," said the solemn wave, "if you follow our practices and embrace our doctrines, then you will certainly reach the great ocean." Other groups of pious waves also congregated in the ocean. Some sang and chanted, some performed elaborate rituals. All of them were determined to reach the great ocean, and each group was convinced that theirs was the only way to get there. The anxious wave, who sought to find some kind of aid or hope, found only confusion. "I want to be saved," she lamented. "I want to go to the great ocean when I die, but I don't know what to believe. What is the true way to get there?" She began to cry. The sight of the nearby shore filled her with fear. Time was running out. A wise old wave, traveling from a faraway sea, happened to observe her anguish. The old wave looked at her, not with pity, but with compassion and understanding. When she spotted the wise old wave, she noticed his peaceful expression and felt the contentment he somehow radiated, even in the face of death. "Are you not afraid of dying?" she asked. "No," he said calmly. "Don't you see that we will soon be thrown upon the rocks and die on the shore ahead?" "Yes, I see," he replied. "Then do you believe you will go to the great ocean after you die?" "Maybe, maybe not." Mystified by his evasiveness, she asked, "And what do you believe?" "Nothing." "Then why aren't you afraid of dying?" "Because I know I will not die." Bewildered, she screamed, "Are you crazy? Of course you will die. We will all die. No one can survive the rocky shore ahead." "Yes, that is true. All waves will certainly die on the shore," he said calmly. "Then you too will die," she insisted. "I will not die because I am not a wave." She began to wonder if the old wave was crazy. "You certainly look like a wave," she said sarcastically. "Yes, what you see is a wave, but there is more to you and me than waves generally think." What do you mean? The old wave did not answer immediately. He paused to consider whether further discussion might cause her even more frustration and confusion. Then he recalled his own desperation before meeting the revered one, who so lovingly imparted the ancient wisdom to him. What if that wave had refused to teach him? Then the old wave began to explain, slowly and deliberately. Waves are born. They live for some time, and when they reach the shore, they die. This is an undeniable fact about our lives, yet it is not the whole truth. You say you are a wave, but are you not also water? Clearly, you are both wave and water. But which is the true you, your true self? He continued. When you were born, you were a mere wavelet. Now you are a full-grown wave. The wavelet and the wave are completely different, yet both are you. As a wavelet, you were water. Now also, you are water. In spite of your constantly changing form, you have always been water. Your essential nature, your true self, is water alone. But, she interjected, even if I am water, I am still going to die. The old wave smiled reassuringly. As you swelled from a tiny wavelet to your present size, the water, which is your essence, never changed. First you were water in the form of a wavelet. Now you are water in the form of a full-grown wave. Even before you were born from the ocean, the water you are already existed. And when your present form is destroyed on the shore, as water, you will continue to exist, utterly unchanged. The old wave recalled a favorite verse often quoted by his master and recited it with a strange but captivating melody. Water was not born, nor will it ever die. It does not come into or go out of existence. Unborn, eternal, undecaying, and ancient, when waves are destroyed, it perishes not. So, my dear one, you were never born, nor will you ever die, because you are water. What difference does it make whether your present form as a wave survives or not? She reflected on the old wave's teachings. They seemed to resonate within. Somehow their truth seemed obvious, self-evident. Then, a cloud of doubt swept over her when she remembered her conversation with the pious wave. What about the great ocean? She asked. How do I get there? Water, the wise old wave replied, is the essence of you, of me, and of every wave in the ocean. Water pervades all. The great ocean, too, must certainly be pervaded by water. And the same water that pervades all, including the great ocean, is the water that is your essence. You need not go to the great ocean because it is already within you. These words stunned her like thunderclaps. she realized how misdirected her search had been. What she sought so desperately was already within her. All along, the seeker was the sought. Her fear and anxiety vanished. A peaceful stillness filled her completely. She surveyed the ocean and saw only water, in so many forms, large and small. She studied the old wave who had so patiently helped her and realized that she was the same water as he. On the rocks of the California coastline, under the clear blue sky, the wave was shattered into thousands of tiny droplets soaring high into the air, all brilliantly reflecting the sun as they fell in a graceful arc and disappeared into the pebbled beach. In the crashing surf, the wave surrendered her waveness, but remained forever as the water pervading all. Thank you for listening. A lovely story. And we may continue reading Roar the Ganges at a later time. You're very welcome, Daninsky. And I'm glad you liked the story, Brandon. And Ansuela. I agree. It was a beautiful and incredible analogy. Very happy you all enjoyed it. Om Namah Shivaya, says Chloe Evans. A good mantra, that is. And thank you to those who sent a gift whilst I was reading. I hope you allow me the honor of extending my best wishes back to you now that I have a full moment. Brandon, thank you for that beautiful swan. And 100 and another 24 roses. Radhe, Radhe. And we may open up the floor now to questions and answers, or just sharing of experiences, uplifting each other. Thank you, Isabella, for your quartet of roses. Radhe, Radhe. Hello, Rahina. Chloe, you shared that today when you got done meditating to a video, you took your earbuds out and continued. That's so lovely. I'm happy that you are able to find that meditativeness, even out of that experience of the senses. And Liz, thank you for Heart Me and Poutine. I had no idea that was a gift. But it is the food of my people, apparently. A national dish of Canadians is French fries and cheese and gravy. I am hungry thinking about it. Thank you, Liz. And Nelly90, thank you for your heart me. Hariom Tatsa. And Isabella, thank you for your tiny diny. And a rose. Yippee! And Chuck, thank you for your confetti. Radhe, Radhe. Toki, you share that you've flown through space in your dreams. You loved every minute of it. That's so wonderful. I'm happy that you find so much peace, even while dreaming. And hello, Kalkiji. And hello, Chrono Pig. Peace be with you. And hello, refurbished prototype. Thank you, Brandon, for your subscription a minute ago as well. You are always welcome here, and I thank you for the opportunity to be there for you in any way I can. Hari Om Tat Sat. 4B movement, you ask if I have any thoughts on transurfing. Does it really help in shaping someone's reality? It's a good question. I've never heard of transurfing. Perhaps if you can tell me about it, we can explore this topic together. I am an open book. And thank you, Ron, for your heart, me too. Jai Sitaram. And burnt cake, you ask. How can you connect better with others in regular life? Just as the question of the day reminded us of the ways in which we are equal, keeping those things in mind, how can you not feel a connection? You are a conscious being, they are a conscious being. You can relate in our funny experience of consciousness. The silliness of coming born into this existence. That humility. It's very bonding. Kalki, you ask, have I ever read the Avadhuta Gita? You just found out about it. I have heard about the Avadhuta Gita. I believe it's a conversation between Krishna and Avadhuta. And instead of a conversation with Arjuna, who was playing the role of a naive spiritual seeker, Avadhuta is an enlightened being. And so the questions he has for Krishna is just mind-bending, very deep questions. I might be getting my Gitas wrong. Is that the right Gita I'm thinking of? Anyway, there's one of the Gitas that are like that. I think it's Avadhuta, but I might be wrong. But no, I have not read it. And thank you, Bobby, so for your heart, me. Team bracelet, and it cheer you up. Jai Sitaram. And no, not the Ashtavakra Gita, although that is a good Gita. Everybody loves Raven. You ask, how would I define an enlightened being? I would define it as the very essence of who you are. And if you are in knowledge of that, then you are self-realized. To be free of misconceptions of who you are. That is to say, to not be identified with this body or mind. The Uddhav Gita. Thank you, Om Tat Sat. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yes. Yes, the Avadhuta Gita is a different one. The Uddhav Gita is between Krishna and Uddhav. Glad someone knows. And thank you, Maya, for your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 roses a few minutes ago. Jai Sitaram. Jamuel, you share that you're very curious. When you meet a stranger person or people, it's always a tingling feeling. That is a very curious sensation, isn't it? Kind of connection that happens even before the words aren't first spoken. Reuniting with a long-lost friend, a friend maybe from beyond the grave. There are a lot of Gitas, yes. And just as Gregardji says to Starfire, since Gita means song, I suppose there are infinite. And thank you, Isabel's Fairy Tales, for your donut too. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Chrono Big, thank you for your pair of applauses. 2 claps. And for your 11 roses. Radhe Radhe. Chris, you ask, can I do the Swarmy chant for 20 minutes from yesterday? Oh yes, the chant we did yesterday from Swami Tadatmananda. Well, you can find that on my YouTube channel soon. We will be uploading the clip of that. Or if you want to get in contact, I can just send you the original video. But today we are going to be doing a different chant today. One from a different tradition. And Rahina, thank you for your 11 tiny dinies. And another 22. Yippee! And Chrono Pig. I love that name, it's a good name. Thank you, Kalki, for your quintet of roses. And Nene, thank you for your heart me. Radhe Radhe. Gardening Gregardji, you're wondering what's the traditional chant for today? Today we will be doing one from for the Swami Narayan Sampradaya, the devotees of Swami Narayan. We'll be going through 108 different names. Today we'll also have a visual, a video to go along with it. And this one is more interactive than yesterday's. We will get to chant along with it. And it'll be easy. All we have to do is say one word. Namaha. And thank you, Aaron, for your flowers a few minutes ago. I am a little behind on my gifts. I thank you for your patience. Radhe Radhe. Josh, you ask, how do I know that we are not a simulation that determines and created an illusion of self-awareness? Because even that possibility is something we are aware of. That awareness must come from somewhere. Awareness is the very building block of everything in our experience. Awareness cannot come from anything. It is the place in which all things come from. To say otherwise would be having a bad definition of what awareness is. Which is understandable, however. Because our science tells us, at least in theory, that somehow or another, awareness is generated by the brain. But this is not a very good definition of awareness, because it precludes our own experience of it. From our experience, it is not coming from anything. It is the essence of who we are. And as that essence of who we are, we find our body within it, and not the other way around. Sure, the experiences of the senses, they could be illusory, they could be a simulation. That's called Maya. But the Brahman is the very fact that awareness is secondary from it. Or rather, the Maya is secondary to the awareness itself, Chaitanya. Awareness is that which is Advaita, one without another. And existence without awareness is no existence at all. Starfire, thank you for that rose a minute ago, Tone. And we can go more into that, but I also have some gifts that I'm still behind on. Thank you, Bandagor, for your heart me too. Radhe or Radhe. And Sarah Lynn, thank you for your heart me. I was so close to making a tiny dino sticker for you today. But I'll have to do it afterwards. And Jody, thank you for your quartet of roses. Hariom Tat Sat. In fact, I think I can just reuse the same picture that I use on our toques that has the tiny diny. You can have that in chat. Wouldn't that be fun? And thank you, Isabella, for your rosa and ice cream cone. Radhe or Radhe. Gregor G, you ask, can we talk about the possible relation between scientific theory of steady state and the Buddhist idea that the universe never started? I like that. Yes. We certainly can talk about that. And thank you, Mellow Maverick, for your TikTok. Jai Sita Ram. And Usha, thank you for your finger heart. And Octet of Roses. And Andrea, thank you for your tiny diny. Yippee! Now, if you have a quick Google search, you look up the age of the universe. According to modern theory, it's about 13.7 billion years old. Now, how do we get this figure? Well, when the Hubble telescope was taking pictures of galaxies, they found that a lot of the dimmer galaxies, the ones that seemed further away, they were red. Literally. Their light was more red. You could say, this is very funny. Why would galaxies farther away have a different color? Are we at the center of some spot in the universe that is just less red and everything else is red? Actually, no. It's due to a phenomenon called redshift, which is not so different to the Doppler effect, like when an ambulance is passing by. When it's approaching you, it sounds high pitch, and then when it's passing you, it gets lower pitch. The same thing happens with light. If a galaxy is moving towards you, it gets blue shifted, higher frequency, and when it's moving away from you, it gets red shifted, lower frequency. This means that most galaxies are moving away from us, and the further you go into space, the faster they are moving away from us. But it's not just us. It's every galaxy is moving away from each other. It's like the whole universe is getting bigger, and the distance between each galaxy is getting bigger. So that's very interesting, because it tells us that our universe is expanding. But if you crank the time backwards, that would imply that the universe was once smaller. And although it can expand infinitely outward, surely there's a point in which everything was so close together that it was all just bundled up together in this singularity. this unity of energy. And so if you do the math, it comes out to about 13.7 billion years ago. All of the stuff in the universe should have been in the same spot. Now, there are many ways in which we can mark the passage of time. In that method, we get a finite answer. But depending on how we measure distance, depending on where we put the tick marks on our ruler, you can also get different answers. If you follow any 2 points in space, technically they never actually come into contact. They may get infinitely close to each other asymptotically as you go backwards in time. But if you're just measuring the absolute distance between 2 coordinates in space, they tell a very different story. I believe this is called measuring time logarithmically. And logarithmically, the universe doesn't have a beginning. Instead of this very fast explosion and expansion of space, logarithmically, from time immemorial, the universe has been expanding. And for a lot of that time, it was just very slow and gets more interesting as we come into modern times. And that's just another way of measuring. But that way overlaps very well with the Buddhist idea that the universe never had a beginning. There is no beginning, no end to this moment. It is eternal. Stuff just goes from one form to another. Everything is just changing forms. And I think that idea resonates with a part of us. Because it tells the tale of our immortality. We just happen to have amnesia, don't we? Thank you, Kay, for your heart me a moment ago. Hari Om Tat Sat. And the link below. Thank you for your 11 fires. Jai Sitaram. Chris, you seem to be having a problem with the link in my bio. It messes up your phone. Well, maybe instead of trying to click on it, you can write it down and type it into your web browser. What social media apps do nowadays is they try to keep you in the app. So instead of redirecting you to your web browsing app, it opens a simulated browser inside TikTok. But sometimes that can cause problems, especially if your phone isn't that up to date or your app is laggy. So if you can copy the link and then open it up in your web browser, that should work easier for you. Gemma, you ask, can I explain the Buddhist way of explaining this concept, that there was no beginning? I can try. Consider it like this. All things have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They come into existence, persist for a while, and then come out of existence. But consider how we phrased that. All things come into existence, persist through existence, and then come out of existence. The existence itself doesn't change. It's what's within it that does. If nothing is permanent, then it is the nothingness itself that is permanent. And that nothingness is what's behind everything. The spaciousness. Nirvana literally means nothingness. The Buddhists are all about their nirvana. Nirvana means coming to that nothingness, that which is permanent. The Buddha said that going in search of that which is impermanent is an ignoble quest. Now, if you're like me, when you first heard that, ignoble, what's ignoble? I guess ig is a prefix that negates it. Not a noble quest. Never heard that before. Ignoble quest. But going in search for what is permanent, now that is a noble quest. So what is permanent? Nothing. We'll call nothing by a different name. You get nirvana. How do we enter that nothingness? We're already there. How do we realize that we're already there? We've already realized it. That is why the Zen Buddhists, they say, do nothing. You've done everything. Nothing left for you to do. Just sit. Gregor, you share that ignoble sounds like a fire with a cause. Yes. Fire with a cause. You know, they say when you're meditating, you should meditate like your hair's on fire. Now that's a fire with a cause. Kelki, you share. That's the bodhisattva part. Get liberated, and then come back, and still chop wood, carry water. It'd be pretty selfish to get enlightenment and then just leave the universe. What about everyone else? We're in it together, aren't we? Our enlightenment depends on each other. In France, thank you for your rose a minute ago. Hariom Tatsa. Alice, you share that the theory you love most is that dreams are alternate realities we tap into. I like that, and I think there is some truth in that, absolutely. Our subconscious is the place of infinite potential. It is from there that ideas are born, and some of them make their way up to the conscious level, and then out of our mind and into the world. And that's how we get all this stuff. Think about it. Everything around you was once first in your mind or someone else's mind. Like your phone, for example. All of the parts were meticulously designed through a lot of thinking. They first existed as thoughts, and even before that, as subconscious potential. We are looking at the inside of the outside. thank you, Andrea, for your rose as well a minute ago. Radhe, Radhe. I have a feeling we'll be covering some interesting topics in today's live. And Michael, thank you for your heartbeat and for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, France, for your rose. Jai Sita Ram. And Kalki Ji, thank you for your baker's dozen worth of roses. And Duki, thank you for your 35 tiny dinies. Yippee! That was a good yippee, I have to admit. For Beef Movement, you ask, can I please read about transurfing? You'd love to hear my thoughts on it. Alright, you've given me some homework to do. Kalki, you ask, can I talk about monkey? Sun Wukong or Hanuman? Well, I can talk about Hanuman. Hanuman, he's with me. I better not say anything too negative about him, or he'll crack me on the head with his club. Hanuman was once gifted mala, rosary beads, for him to do japa, because he loves Ram. That's his Ishtadeva, his personal deity. He loves to meditate on the form of Ram. So someone gifted to him some beads for him to do Nama Japa, recitation of the name of Ram. But what he was doing is he was biting on each bead and cracking it open. And he'd look in it and he'd throw it away. And he'd crack open the next bead and he'd open it and he'd throw it away. Now, what a way to accept a gift from someone, right? To start breaking it in front of them. This person, they go, what are you doing, Hanuman? I just gave this to you. Hanuman said, I'm looking for Ram. You gave this to me so I could meditate on Ram. I'm trying to find him in the beads. They said, you can't do that. He's not in there. You're not going to find him by opening them up. Hanuman takes his hands, grabs onto his chest, and rips open his flesh and reveals Rama and Sita sitting in his heart. There's that famous series of paintings where he's holding his chest open and he has his Ishtadeva sitting there in his heart. Gifter said, my apologies, Hanuman. You do what you like. I'm going to therapy now. Jai Gurudev, Nim Karoli Baba. Now, I agree, Sky Guardian. Why don't we read from another section of the Vajana Amruta? This book is a collection of about 300 discourses from Swami Narayan, who is said by his devotees to be an incarnation of, well, Narayan, which is a form of Vishnu or Krishna or Rama. And he lived at the turn of the 19th century. And here we have some discourses from him. Today we are reading Gadhada 128. A smoldering log, progressing and regressing. This is a nice short one. On Posh, Sudhi the 14th, Samvat 1876, or the 30th of December, 1819. Sriji Maharaj was sitting on a large decorated cot on the veranda outside the room, in line with the room of Sri Vasudev Narayan in Tada Kachar's Darbar in Gadhada. He was dressed entirely in white clothes. At that time, the sadhus had sat down to eat in his presence. Thereupon, Sriji Maharaj said, "When a satsangi, a participant in a spiritual gathering, is likely to regress in the satsang fellowship, vicious desires steadily flourish within them. At first, they begin to perceive flaws in all participants, satsangis, day by day. In their heart, they feel, all of these other participants, satsangis, lack understanding. Only I have true understanding. In this way, they consider themselves to be superior to all. Such a person remains constantly uneasy, day and night. They cannot sit peacefully anywhere during the day, nor can they sleep at night. Moreover, their anger never subsides. In fact, they constantly smolder like a half-burning log. A person who behaves in this manner should be known to be on the verge of falling out of satsang. No matter how many days they spend in satsang, they will never experience peace in their heart. Ultimately, they will fall from satsang. Conversely, when a person is likely to progress in satsang, pure desires steadily flourish within them. Day by day, they see only the virtues in all satsangis. They view all devotees as superior to themselves and considers themselves to be insignificant. Moreover, they experience the bliss of satsang in their heart 24 hours a day. Such characteristics indicate that pure desires have flourished. In fact, the more such a person practices satsang, the more they benefit, and eventually they attain profound greatness. Having delivered this discourse, Sriji Maharaj bid Jai Satchitananda. Victory to existence, consciousness, bliss. To all, and return to his seat. A nice little short one, that is. A smoldering log, progressing and regressing. Thank you for listening. A good interim. Now we may return to our kusang. I'm just kidding. Satsang is a gathering of good people. Kusang is a bad gathering. No, here I am surrounded by such lovely beings. I must be the Ku, and you are all the Satya. Thank you, Chrono Pig, for your pair of tiny dinies. Hee hee. Yippee. Hello, Cornbread. Gregor, you share that Dada, Kachar, Darbar, and Gadada is your favorite thing to say during this time. It has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Alika, you share. My presence is so omnipotent, deep reflections of love and recognition. Well, I do hope to reflect all of your love and recognize you each as divine souls. Omnipotent, hey, I can hardly eat anything that is spicier than black pepper without my insides imploding. That is a power that I do not wield. I'm happy you I'm happy you saw what I did there, Sky Guardian. Cat, you ask, do I play any video games? Not lately, which is funny, because I've been such a gamer my whole life. Jade Monique, you share that the first time you ate Indian food, you did not ask for not spicy. And what a lesson that is, I am sure. Yeah. And I agree, G to infinity. Life is a big game, and I am very happy to be a part of it. Yamfan Annika. You ask, if thoughts are intrusive, is speaking also? Good question. Here, speaking of video games, let us use an analogy. In role-playing video games, now, part of an open world that the developers want you to feel is that you have freedom even in your interaction with the NPCs. So, a team of dialogue writers will spend a long time writing all these dialogue trees, different options for how the conversation will go. And maybe you're a lawful good character. But they will write in dialogue options not just for lawful good characters, but also chaotic evil, lawful evil, chaotic good, true neutral, the whole gamut. Now, you could read the dialogue options in one conversation you're having with some NPC, and one of them says, I should beat you up for saying that. Another one says, I respect your decision, and I will continue to carry the sword of honor. And another one says, I've had enough of this. Goodbye. Now, potentially, there are a couple options that you'd like, and maybe a couple options that you don't like. You can consider the ones you don't like to be your intrusive thoughts. I didn't think of that. Actually, you didn't think of any of them, because the dialogue writers wrote them in. Does this mean you have no free will? Not at all, because you're given a choice. You're given a choice which one you want to participate in, which one reflects you. You don't have to take accountability for all of them, only the one that you decide to engage in. Likewise, our thoughts you can consider to be pre-written. This doesn't mean that there's a dialogue writer necessarily, but they are there. And we still have free will to choose which of these thoughts best reflect our identity. And so we still take accountability for the ones we choose to engage in. Likewise, when speaking, there's this whole array of thoughts that we can choose to draw inspiration from. If I wanted to take a detour into something completely off topic, I could now shift my awareness to the thoughts concerning pickles and how they're marinated in vinegar, and how there are a lot of things that you can pickle, but it seems like the cucumber is the most famous pickle because we call it a pickle, don't we? Those thoughts were there. They've been there for a few minutes, probably. We just choose not to engage in some thoughts because they're off topic, or they might derail the conversation, or they might not express your best interests. When we don't have a filter and we speak all the thoughts that come to our mind, then you could say that you have intrusive speech and not just intrusive thought. But generally speaking, no. Speaking requires intention. And where there is intention, then there is certainly no intrusion. And thank you, Chris, for your ice cream cone a moment ago. Hari Om Tat Sat. And spiritual vibes. Thank you for your love, yo. Jai Sitaram. MC, you share that you knew a man like that. Me too. And it was younger me. In fact, all of us as babies would blab on and on and on. And our parents would be covering their ears trying to sleep. Why won't you just nap? Eventually it runs us into trouble too. And so some of us learn to pick and choose when to talk. Some of us take longer than others, but that's okay. Larak, you ask a good question. But your quote-unquote choice is only predicated on previous conditioning. If this is so, where is the choice? Let us move back to the video game analogy with your dialogue screen. You could say that if I knew your intentions for this game, that you wanted to be lawful good, then there's a good chance that I could predict which dialogue option you would choose. This is because you have already decided the character that you want to play. That is to say, you have already identified with some, identity, some character with different character traits and characteristics. Likewise, in this life too, we have identified with a certain role that we're playing. And so for most of us, you can probably predict maybe not exactly what we're going to say in response to something. But there was that TikTok trend a few years ago of girlfriends predicting what their boyfriend would say, and some of them were really good. But the more conscious you are and the more open you are to have a flexible identity, then that leaves room for choice to be a little transcendental to what your past has led you to want to fall into. Greg RG, you share that. You blab in here. You're not like that in person, but you're just so happy to talk about this stuff with people. And I am so happy that you are here. You are all welcome to blab. Blabbing is allowed. John James, you say, Yam? I am traveling through space at a crazy high speed. Oh no, did I leave the engines on? Crap. I forgot to turn off the warp drive. Well, we'll end up where we end up. Scan for La. Thank you for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. Larak, you share. But the identity is predicated on conditioning as well. Even the openness is new conditioning, no? What we are exposed to in life, that is not in our control. Whether you are born into a family that is Jewish, Christian, Hindu, or something different, whether you're born into a family of bakers, or if you live in America, Switzerland, Transylvania, Australia, we don't consciously decide these things. But yet we still have a choice whether we want to follow in the footsteps of others. There is that feeling on the level of the soul that even though I was born here with this family in this country to such an occupation, I feel like I am destined for something different. And so your soul takes you elsewhere. There is that calling to experience something outside what you know. That calling is there. Whether you choose to engage in that calling, now that is up to you. Some people stay in their hometown their whole life, and that is fine. If they choose to live their life that way, they are valid in that. But our nature is not confined to one place, one time. Exploring that is something I would encourage everyone to blab about with themselves until those blabs get you somewhere that you didn't know you needed to go. And thank you, John F., for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hello, Rana Abu Ahmed. Welcome. Jack, you shared that you fell asleep to my reading last night and had some insightful dreams. Tell me about them. I am excited to hear. And good night, Chloe Evans. And Chris, you ask, can we read more of The Woman Monk? Yes, we can. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Let us do that. The woman monk in question, or the nun in question, is Bhima Chodron. And she is one of the wisest women in the world, in my opinion, and the opinion of many other people. Today we are going to read Tatvamasi says 77. Have we read that one yet? Let me see. Yes, we have. Number 2, says Shakira. Let's see, have we read number 2? No, we have not. We'll read number 2 for you, Shakira. Number 2 is called We Already Have Everything. We already have everything. We already have everything we need. There is no need for self-improvement. All these trips that we lay on ourselves, the heavy-duty fearing that we're bad and hoping that we're good, the identities that we so dearly cling to, the rage, the jealousy, and the addictions of all kinds, never touch with our basic wealth. They are like clouds that temporarily block the sun, but all the time our warmth and brilliance are right here. This is who we really are. We are one blink of an eye away from being fully awake. Looking at ourselves this way is very different from our usual habit. From this perspective, you don't need to change. You can feel as wretched as you like, and you're still a good candidate for enlightenment. You can feel like the world's most helpless basket case, but that feeling is your wealth, not something to be thrown out or improved upon. That's number 2. We already have everything. And I hope you see why. She is one of the wisest women in the world, in my opinion, and many others. A good intermission again, and thank you for listening. And I agree, it is a good reminder. Jama. I don't actually know if your name is pronounced with a hard G or a soft one. I like to imagine a soft G. I love that, Orla. Abundance mindset is such a relief. It is pronounced with a hard G. Gamma. I like that. Gamma, gamma, gamma. Thank you for telling me. I'd like to learn how to pronounce your names. No, like giraffe. That's a soft G. It's Gemma. Gemma, Gemma, Gemma. Is giraffe a soft G? Ja, 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 ja. I think that's soft, yes. Ga sounds like contact. Ga. Ja kind of has a jammy, sort of jello-y softness. And thank you, Vaz High Roller, for your subscription here. I always look forward to the opportunity to connect with you deeper in any way I can. Radhe Radhe. And Conway, thank you for your 70 bracelets. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jack, you share not like the Spanish soft G, which is like huh. I like the way you spelt that. H-U-H. Huh. Hello, Ilya Kills. Gemma, you love the reminder that even the uncomfortable feelings and the experiences are part of this. So true, yes. When you are happy, that's life. When you are sad, that's life. When you are angry, that's life. When you are scared, that's life. It's all life. And I'm happy to live it. And I'm afraid of living it. And I'm frustrated with living it. And I'm sad to live it. I am living. And when you feel nothing, says Anna, that's amore. I like that, Gemma. You share that you're reading The Hobbit, and he says, the easy times are lovely, but quick to tell the story of. That's so funny. Oh, Tolkien. And the hard times are difficult and perilous. They make for a long and interesting story. I read that a little incorrectly. And the hard and difficult and perilous make for long and interesting stories. Hello, Chloe Evans. You are apologizing for being back. That's quite all right. Hello, Nuremberg. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. Loopy Lass? You say hello. You have not slept for 5 nights. Do I think you are having a spiritual awakening? Well, you're awake, that's for sure. You are certainly processing something. I find that sometimes while I'm awake, I consciously process it and then I put it to some side. And then when I try to sleep, when it hits the subconscious, well, then that's when a storm awakens, you know. Sometimes new information is new information. But then when it hits the subconscious, when it interacts with all the old stuff, well then a fire is ignited, a spiritual reaction happens. And perhaps you are indeed processing something that is taking a lot out of your subconscious right now. But I give you my best wishes and blessings to have a wonderful sleep whenever it arrives for you. And you will. I am sure of it. Until then, we can call you, what is it? Madhu Sudana? That's the slayer of the demon Madhu. What is the Sanskrit name for the one who has conquered death? Gudakesha. We'll call you Gudakesha, the conqueror of death. Sleep. I believe the conqueror of death would be Yamakesha, I believe. Now you are Gudakesha for now. And thank you, Kiz, for your finger heart. Radhe, Radhe. And Mount St. Godel Organics, thank you for your star. Ariom Tatsa. And Chloe, you share that you're having trouble sleeping. So you are trying to nod off good night and namaste. And that's very understandable. I am sure that you too will come to a beautiful and restful sleep when the perfect time arises for you to recognize that you are safe, you are valid, and you are allowed to rest. You deserve it. And the sun and the moon and the stars won't pass away. You will wake up to a bright and beautiful world, ready to start your day. Ilya kills. You ask, what if awakening is just being and acceptance? You know it's much deeper, but you've recently pondered if we overcomplicate these things, but also just a thought you've pondered is all. I love that thought that you have pondered and shared with us, Ilya. Yes, I agree that we overcomplicate things, including our own awakening. But don't underestimate acceptance and just being, for being shallow, for that is the deepest thing of all. If you go looking into the depths of this experience, you will find at the bottom none other than your very own being, the deepest of all. And thank you, Maya, for your pair of trios of roses. Radhe, Radhe. Good night, Chloe Evans. And It's Law Goggles, thank you for your 30 roses. Jai Sitaram. Dreamy Kundalini, you ask, how do I feel about rightful anger? Like a mother's anger when she is protecting her dependents, when she is enforcing boundaries with her anger, using anger to enforce her needs. That is very rightful. See, the thing about anger is that it pushes boundaries. So we can use that to push our boundaries out. Show them that the line is here. Do not cross it. Unfortunately, such a power is often used to push other people's boundaries in, instead of our own out. Thus, anger gains this negativity to it. But as long as you are using it to sincerely express something that means something so precious to you, then you are welcome to get angry. When that anger is used to hurt others, then you end up hurting yourself in the process. And then everyone needs help. And thank you, John Ave, for your tiny. Yahoo! Your heart me, and your let 'em cooks. Hari Om Tat Sat. And I agree, dreamy Kundalini. That is a good way of looking at it, that they are all your children. Let the Divine Mother flow through you, and see everyone as your own kin, including your enemies. Thank you, Ginseng, for your balloons. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sky Guardian, you are wondering what page we were on Roar the Ganges. 312. There's only about 17 pages left. Besides the about the author. I love that, Greg RG. You share that we will truly win wars when we think not of war, but of love for fellow humans. Love wins. I agree, Nuremberg. And I agree, Dreamy Kundalini. Sometimes we have to stop our children from hurting their siblings. Oh, sibling rivalry. They don't realize how much they love each other. And it is amazing what a dent we've made into the book. It is. I feel like my grammar was lacking on that sentence. It is amazing, though. Yeah. It goes to show that consistent effort, a few pages at a time, you can read a book a lot quicker than you think, a lot thinker than you quick. Clearly my thinking is quicker than my tongue. MC, you ask, what would my planet be if I could be one? I would be Earth, as I am, in flesh and bone. For the Mother Earth is my home. And we are all of the Earth planet, as we have borrowed all of her chemicals, her elements, her materials to construct our lives. Mother Russia, says Nuremberg. The motherland. Why do we call it Mother Nature, the motherland? Because the divine feminine is defined by her womb, and it is from the womb of the earth that we have all been born. This whole universe is the womb, so she is our mother. And thank you, Andrea, for your friendship necklace and a ginger man. Hari Om Tat Sat. Teacher Lorraine, you ask? I am. Hello. How is math connected to spirituality? It was through math that I became very spiritual. It was perhaps the biggest plot twist of my life. I said, none of this spiritual mumbo jumbo. None of this woo-woo, wishy-washy stuff. I want to know the answers of everything logically, concretely. I'm going to take a very methodical approach. I couldn't even trust physics. I thought the physicists, they're still disagreeing about the laws of physics. Even that's mumbo jumbo to me. What I want to know is mathematical certainty, beyond experiment and measurement error and training bias. I want to know, what can we know with symbol manipulation and number crunching alone? And to my own disappointment, I found that I had to take a spiritual route. That at the heart of math is something so spiritual. At some point, I had to bite my own tongue and realize that actually the real mumbo jumbo was my own ignorance to accept greater awareness than my logically brained mind could come to terms with. To me, I realized that the number 0 was the most important number of all. Without the 0, all other numbers fall. It is from the valueless number that all other numbers have value. It is from the zero-dimensional point that all other shapes are pointed out. It is from the empty set that all other sets are filled. I later came to know that what I was describing is something that many highly regarded mathematicians have already pointed out. Category theorists like Alexander Grothendieck, who ended up going a little nutty and wandered off into the woods of France, never to be seen for many years. I had entered an area of mathematics that you have to be very brave to think about, because it will start to evaporate your mind. Thinking about nothingness as the source of everythingness. I think that spirituality is like the other side of an hourglass. And all of the sciences and philosophy and rationality, it converges unto this point where the sands of time trickle through. And then it expands outward again into the great basin of spirituality. But you have to cross that threshold of the void, of that zero, not zero, nothingness, before you can come to find that everythingness awaiting beyond. Teacher Lorraine, you ask, what answers did I find through spirituality that I didn't find through math? Well, to give you a straightforward answer, how to be a better son, how to be a better brother, emotional intelligence. You know, I could solve any differential equation you throw at me, but is knowing that the Gaussian integral is equal to the square root of pi going to help me with my panic attack? Is studying the sporadic groups that exist in higher dimensions going to tell me how to love other people more deeply and authentically. You know, my intellect was flying high through the skies of all of this theoretical knowledge, but life doesn't exist there. It exists in the mundane, and within the mundane world we can have pockets of conversations about these things. But in my opinion, the biggest problems in life are not logical, scientific, or mathematical ones. They're emotional, spiritual. They are so simple, and yet we hide behind this great mechanical society moving forward towards advancement, while leaving behind all of our trauma and our fears and insecurities that deserve our attention in the spotlight. Mathematics may give me the how to existence, but not the why. It may describe the mechanisms of the universe, but not its purpose. Yes, thank you, Keys, for your finger heart a moment ago. And Denise, thank you for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. I like that, Mr. Maid. Spirituality is the showing your work side of mathematics. The side I always struggled with in school. Auntie Anara, you share that your cat just brought you a mouse. Shall you save it? Well, your cat has done its duty. At least the duty that it believes. Now, what is your duty? You have a duty to your cat, but you also have a duty to all sentient beings. The universe has given you this mouse. Said, here is an opportunity to love. Shall you love? Love you shall. That is your essence. And thank you, Denise, for your flowers. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Southern Unique Jewelry Company, thank you for your tiny. Yippee! And Andrea, thank you for your quartet of roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Fan loves baking, you ask. Did I used to make epic videos about math and spirituality? That was my twin brother, Yamsox. Or as I'm Yamsox. That was a Yamsox. And thank you, John Simon, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. And you're very welcome, Annika. I'm very grateful to be here. Liz, you ask, what about situations that have no answers through spirituality? I believe that all situations are benefited by spirituality. But not when we think of spirituality as anything in particular. The spirit is aware. What we mean by the spirit in the word spirituality is to get involved with being highly aware. Aware without being impeded by prejudice, expectations, choiceless, unconditional, awareful, witness, experiencing, that kind of consciousness. That is spirit, that you are. In all situations, recognizing that aspect will help you. It will help you associate with the right people, the right places, the right things. It will help you gain the right experience, have the right knowledge, make the right decisions, choose the right thoughts, speak the right words, do the right things. Self-awareness will always increase your efficiency at being alive. And that is spirituality. And thank you, Dan Hao Yu, for your heartbeat. Chris, you share that spirituality put you in a catch-22 mental health hospitals. What do you do? I think that some forms of spirituality can be very opening, but we lose our sense of being grounded through maybe some esoteric or mystical sides, which are wonderful avenues for adventuring. However, we can lose track of what's here and what's now. And mundane life is very spiritual, or it can be at least. Every interaction you can have that spark of wonder, even if it's in reaching out your hand to drop a couple of coins in their hand so that you may purchase some sustenance to take care of your family. Now, you don't have to overthink the symbolism and everything. When I say that all things are spiritual, I don't mean that there is some grand meaning behind all interactions and that you have to figure out the meaning behind it. I mean, try to enjoy even the small things without overthinking or thinking at all about the circumstance. Rather, how you can engage in it, how to be a little more humble, having a serving mind, how you can love. That kind of spirituality is going to be both fulfilling to your spirit and very grounding. So you don't get lost in the esoteric. Judah girl, you share that you are working on humility. I can tell. Because that sentence alone is so humble. I am working on humility. I love that. And thank you, Jared, for your heartmeat, your team bracelet, and it cheer you up. Hari Om Tat Sat. And John F., thank you for your 15 finger hearts. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Gardening Gregor G, you ask, could you all possibly have a koan for the day? Why don't we crack open the book of koans? The Tao Te Ching. From Lao Tzu. Let's read number 33. Knowledge studies others. Wisdom is self-known. Muscle masters brothers. Self-mastery is bone. Content need never borrow. Ambition wanders blind. Vitality cleaves to the marrow, leaving death behind. Thank you, Jared, for your 3018 bracelets a minute ago. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Sarah Sherman, thank you for your 7 roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Chloe, you were wondering if I have any advice for someone who's going into their first year of uni. My advice is to remember that you learn just as much inside the classroom as you do outside the classroom. Remember that, and you will be a student not just of your university, but of the universe outside. And the link below. Thank you for your pair of fires. Radhe Radhe. And July Moon Child, thank you for the paper crane. RJ, you ask, do I like any popular music artists? I like sound. The sound that hits my ears is surely music itself. Thank you, Ron, for your octet of finger hearts. Hari Om Tat Sat. Christine Smig, you say, yeah, but what artists do you like? I'm a big fan of art. I believe there is artistry everywhere. Sound has some bangers, says Vitreous Vitamins. Sound indeed. has some bangers. Thomas, you ask, is there a good direction to begin your journey in esotericism? Always a good word to say. Esotericism. You know, there are programming languages. Many of you have heard from Java, Python, C, C++, C#, Ruby, Rust, HTML, CSS. There's lots of programming languages. Assembly. There are some programming languages that are called esoteric. Malboj is one of them. But that's not the kind of esotericism you're interested in. You are interested in a mystic art. I would look into those who go by the name of Aghori. Aghori. The Aghori. Gora means the fearsome. Agora means beyond fear. The Aghori are the ones who are beyond fear. And thank you, Monica, for your subscription here. You are welcome here always, and I look forward to the opportunity to connect with you in any way in which I can. Azulea, you ask, why don't I even make videos on TikTok or Instagram? Because I've made all the videos that I've wanted to make. Videos are great for breadth, but not for depth. Breadth means it covers a wide audience. But depth means I get to go into you. Jessica, you ask, how can you know which live on YouTube will be the one from tonight? It's very simple. Today is the 15th of May, and so you look for the one that says the 15th of May in the title. I've tried to make it as an easy process for you. So if you only know the date in which it was, no problem. The date is in the title. Judah girl, you ask, Yam, what do I know about the flower of life? I know not about the flower of life, But I know that you are what lay dormant at its center. Om Mani Padme Hum. The jewel at the center of the lotus. Antyanara, you share that in one dimension we are a straight line. What is my dimension? Just a point. And then even that. One dimension is a line, 2 dimensions is a plane, 3 dimensions is a whole space. 0 dimensions is a point, and you take away a point, then what is left? Negative space. You are not the shape of this body, but the space in which it is held. You are that negative space by which the whole universe is beheld. Crossfires, you ask, is this live right now? Or a replay? This is a replay. But with my advanced yogic knowledge, I am able to predict every comment that comes at their appropriate times. So, I speak to you from the distant past. I'm just kidding. Friendly Ike, you ask, where did my knowledge come from? From my mama, who is very wise, and she has gifted me with lots of wisdom. None of it is my own. Michael, you ask, do I know the law of one and the teachings of Ra? Ra the 7th density social memory complex from the future. The whole earth in its future form, transcending time, speaking us. It's one of the few books that I've listened to. It's an interesting book. I like the idea of the 8 densities, like an octave of life, that the spiritual journey is one where we appear to go in cycles, but we are forgetting the time dimension. that we have climbed our way up again to a place that we seemingly have been before, just as we walk our way up the notes of a piano, we find the same notes that we've climbed before. But we are at a higher octave. So there is progress, and it's also cyclical. It's both cyclical and linear. They call that a helix. From one perspective, it looks like you're going in circles, but from another, you're spiraling upwards. And thank you, Jared, for your corgi. Hari Om Tat Sat. Euphoria, you share that in 100 years, we all would be gone and forgotten. Isn't that sad? If all we were was based on the perspective of others, then it would be sad, indeed. And although the memory of us in conscious thought may not remain, the love that we have given in these short decades of our life, now that will remain. Just as we touch the hearts of our loved ones, and they touch the hearts of so many more, that love, which is our eternal nature, survives again and again. The mind may forget, but the heart always remembers. Chris, you ask, where is the tree of knowledge? The tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden. But it's not just the tree of knowledge. It's the tree of knowledge of what? Testing your biblical knowledge. It's the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Thank you, Sven Sirius. Good and good, says Gronov. Plus and minus. Of all the trees that we are allowed to eat the fruits from, we shall not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. But how will we know the difference between right and wrong if we don't eat from this tree? Isn't it necessary for us to have knowledge of good and evil? See, if life were so binary, then yes, it would serve us very well. The problem is that life is not so black and white, and we end up categorizing things to be good or evil prematurely, without giving them a chance to open up. If we feel like we possess knowledge of what's right and what's wrong, what's good and what's evil, then we'll divide our world where we are the good ones and you all are the bad ones. And now there's conflict. Now there is suffering. Now it's us versus them. There's a versus. Suddenly a war must be fought. But if we just refrained from eating from that tree, from the fruit of knowledge of good and evil, then maybe we wouldn't see our enemies as evil, or everyone in our family as good. There's room for curiosity. The yin and the yang, and the yang and the yin. There isn't so much division. Yes, it's messy. But perhaps life is that way at heart. Maybe there aren't clean lines, and maybe that's okay. That we don't have to know what is good and what is evil. Maybe we can be more unified in our approach and treat everyone the same. Love is ignorant of who is good and who is evil. Love does not care what you did yesterday. Love is only concerned with who you could be tomorrow. And love knows your potential existing today. And thank you, Liz, for your owl. Hari Om Tat Sat. Whether you call it good or bad, positive or negative, right or wrong, it's still a duality. To go out of duality means that you remain the same in pain or pleasure, in victory or defeat, in hot or cold, in hunger or luxury. That you care not about what is on the surface, but about that soul which is in you and I, equal, forever the same. I like that, Pamela. Pleasure and pain, fame and shame, loss and gain, it's all the same. That's so poetic. And thank you, Haley, for your heartbeat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Denise, you share that it's too bad I don't live close to your house. But you are lucky with my life. I may not be close to your house, but at the heart we share the same home. And there I am with you, right here and now. We may be distant in space, but in time we couldn't be closer. Hello, Saturnus. And thank you, Little Wing Nico. for your heart me, a trio of finger hearts, a tiny yippee, a ginger man, a trio of cloud breads, a disco love, a friendship necklace, and balloons. Hello. Radhe Radhe. And cornbread. Thank you for your ice cream cone. Jai Sitaram. Chris, you share in reference to the forbidden fruit. But the apples had worms, and that made death and sin because of meat. Indeed. And when we unpack the symbolism that is so beautifully waiting to be unfolded, the apples were really rotten to their core. And they were rotten in the fact that although it appeared sweet on the surface, it led to quite the bitter aftertaste. Although it might feel good to, in the moment, with the knowledge of good and evil, to chastise those we deem evil and uplift those we deem good, eventually it ends up coming to bite us back. And it is like death, because then we try to make our lives only good and try to avoid all that is evil. But then we close ourselves off from so much life. And that closing off of life is death. And thank you, Denise, for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. Euphoria, you share that you think it's wrong to punish people just because they didn't know how to believe in God. Indeed, I agree. See, if love was forced, it wouldn't be love. You can lock a dog in a cage and tell it to love you. And when you bring it food and let it go out when it behaves right, then, in that twisted perspective, you might believe that you are being loved, but the dog really loves to live. And it is only its love to live which is being expressed in their servitude to you. Likewise, there are many people out there that claim to love God, but actually just love themselves. And they're just trying to avoid the punishment. But that's not real love. Love happens voluntarily when there is no fear of punishment or attachment to reward, and that can never be forced. That love has to happen by free will. No one can force you to love them, just as God can never force you to love them. You could live the rest of your life without loving God, and God still loves you. You could never set foot in a temple or a mosque or a synagogue or a mandir or a monastery, and that source will still accept you with open arms at the time of death. You have been given this freedom of will not for you to make some decision that is right. If one decision was right and another was wrong, then it would be only an illusory kind of free will, isn't it? Here, I give you the choice. You press this button or this button, but pressing this button will kill you. That's not free will. Free will means that your choice is made right, and not the choice itself which is right or wrong. It means that your determination to create meaning in whatever you do, that is right. Antyanara, you share that you don't understand what selflessness is. Instead of putting it in terms of the negative, why don't we rephrase it into the positive? Being selfless just means that we are otherful. It means that instead of having ourselves at the center of attention, we put everyone else at the forefront of our love. It means we see the snake, the ant, our cat and dog, the fish, our neighbor, our mother, our friend, our teacher, our bully, all as equal. It means we are interested in, first and foremost, to give love to those around us, to serve the needy rather than needing anything ourselves. Little Wing Nico, you share that you think you have to be selfish sometimes for self-care. Self-care is not selfish. Indeed. How can we serve others when we run out of energy ourselves? If our goal is to spread peace and love, then if we don't have that inside, how can we share that? So it is not selfish at all to help cultivate that love and peace within yourself. Taking time to do that is very otherful with that in mind. Ilya Kills, you share that you had to leave, but any words of advice on feeling like a burden for being sick for a long time? Remember that anytime you are in need of assistance from others, they are also in need of the opportunity to care for you. That is how karma works. Where there is someone in need of help, there is a part of you which in turn is which in turn is in need of helping them. There, I said it. The need goes both ways. The need to be helped and the need to help. When you are sick, you are a blessing. You are blessing everyone who loves you with the opportunity to take care of you. And that is a gift you give to them. And when you are ready, I am sure that you will give back that help that they have lended you, just as you have already helped them be a little more otherful. Thank you, Elia. And thank you, Saturnus, for your heart me and to cheer you up. Hari Om Tat Sat. And thank you, Pink Snow, for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. Precisely lands. You are not selfish for loving yourself and ignoring the world. That time is necessary for your inner transformation. Nei, you ask, what do I think about reptilians? I think the moment we categorize one human as subhuman or another as superhuman, then a repeat of World War II is going to happen. We have just used different terminologies. In Nazi Germany, instead of reptilian and starseed, it was Jude and Aryan. That one race is subhuman and another is superhuman, Übermensch. And so much suffering happened from that classification. It has been almost 100 years, and that suffering remains, passed on from generations. Let us not continue this mistake of categorizing people this way, and recognize that regardless of who you are, we all have an equal potential to love and be loved. So, may we learn from our mistakes and let us pave a new future history, not demarcated by less thans or more thans, so we may start to see the universality of the soul, the equality of consciousness. And thank you, Inevitable, for your quintet of roses and a paper crane. Hari Om Tat Sat. Antyanara, you ask, how do I think we can unite people as we become more polarized? When ignorance is the ailment, knowledge is the remedy. And what kind of ignorance is it? It's an ignorance of our true identity. If we feel like we are lacking something, then we will try to take that from somebody else who appears to have it. If we feel like somebody has something that we do not, then there is that pressure for us to change ourselves and of others. Instead of thinking this way, we should come to know ourselves as already enough, that there is nothing that we are missing on the level of awareness. That perfect version of you that you see in the future is nothing compared to who you already are. You say, how can that be when I've made so many mistakes and I've got all these bad habits? But you're working on it. And the version of you that is working on it is a much better version of you that has already worked on it and is done working. The version of you that is healing is much better than the version of you that is healed and done with healing. For healing, for learning, for growing, for working on it, these are all your essential natures. In the present moment, being this potential for betterment, you are already whole. You are not working toward something because that something is better than you. It is because movement is your destiny. You are an explorer. You are not defined by what you discover, what you make, but by the process of discovery, of making, of creativity. Just as in this moment, there are so many things you could become, all of those things are already a part of you. They are unfolding right now. If this self-knowledge, Atma-vidya, is what is sought after by humanity, then there is no question of not having enough when you are enough. Always, everyone, equally, forever. We are all fighting for happiness, as if it exists in some places and not in others, while forgetting that the happiness arises from within. We are just waiting for a time that it feels right to be happy. But there is no better time to be happy than now, because now is all we have. You might as well be happy, for the good of the world depends on it, rather than the other way around, that your happiness depends on the good of the world. The future will not be paved by angry, sad, bitter people. That trail being blazed will be forged by those who are peaceful already at heart and decide to externalize that peace into a new world. Thank you, John F., for your 11 donuts a few minutes ago. Hari Om Tat Sat. And I like that Aquarius lady. We are never promised another day, hour, nor minute. Each day is a new challenge. Each hour, each minute, each second can be challenging. All you have to make it do is your next breath. Yes, there is so much that can be done from now until eternity, but it will all start with a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Little Wing Nico, you share that I am always live in the early hours there, and you love falling asleep to the sound of my voice. That's very kind of you. I hope that it is conducive to good dreams. Chloe, you ask if I have any advice for someone going into their first year of uni. You are studying pre-med. Were you not satisfied with the answer earlier? I feel like I'm having deja vu. That's okay. You offer me the opportunity to tell it to you in a different way. Remember that a best student is not one who gets good grades. A good student is she who does her best and denies the mind of temporary sensual gratifications. This time of your life, though indeed is ripe for personal exploration, you have much time in the future to do that also. Right now, until the time that you are, say, 25, it should be for studying. And although you will learn a lot about yourself at parties and under the influence of many different tempting experiences, it is best for you to practice austerity and study with the essence of servitude in mind. That right now you are denying the opportunity to go out partying for the greater good of everyone that you will help through your medical knowledge. And that's quite alright, Chloe. You're always welcome to ask a question again, for you are not encouraged to accept the things I say the first time. I want you to question me and ask again. It's quite alright, little Wing Nico. I understand. Developing willpower as a student is extremely important. It'll keep you disciplined and motivated as you go into higher levels of studying that require even more concentration. There is no coincidence about the word disciple and discipline being etymologically related. For where there is discipline, there is a disciple. And although the word disciple has, in modern times, gained a kind of cult-like sentiment, know that it is at the heart of a student of life to gain this leverage over the mind so that they can achieve the highest potential. And that is the purpose of discipline, of studying those late hours, when you want more than anything to go to the bar or go to bed. But besides bed or the bar, you will increase the amount of knowledge in your head, and surely you will go far. And thank you, Saturnus, for your dancing flower. That is a rare one indeed. Thank you. Jai Sitaram. Little Wing Nico, you share that you're like one of those nodding dog little toys on my lives. I've been there. Yeah. Well, feel free to nod off whenever. Don't let me take you away from sleep. It is important. And thank you, Zoe Prince, for your rose. Many minutes ago by now. And Mahina, thank you for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. Crossfires, you ask. What if there is a lot of negative people around? What better time is there to be positive, if not a time that is filled with negativity? What better place is there to be positive, if not a place that is filled with negativity? This universe has given us the ability to be positive, not to share only when other people are sharing it. The purpose of patience is to outweight people that are testing them. The purpose of compassion is to be friendly to those who might not deserve it. The purpose of positivity is to shine like a light in the dark, surrounded by the shroud of negativity. Little Wing Nico, you share. No, you mean nodding in agreement to what I say. Yes, that is a very different kind of nodding, isn't it? Well, whether you nod in agreement or nod off to sleep, you are free to both decide for yourself what is agreeable and an appropriate time to sleep. And thank you, Van Gogh Rome, for your rose. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Little Wing Nico, you love the saying, be kind to unkind people. They need it the most. So true. So true. It's easy to forget that. We see someone misbehaving and we think what they need is someone to get mad at them. Maybe that'll teach them, right? But you see, the reason they are like this is because they've had only badness projected upon them. Anger. To be that guiding light in the dark will surely bring them to a lighter, softer feeling at heart. Zoe Prince, you ask for my thoughts on lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming? How about lucid waking? See? Many people would love to realize that they're dreaming when they're dreaming. And don't get me wrong, that's a great thing to do. But even better than that is to realize that you're awake when you're awake. That is called lucid waking. What does that mean? It means that at all moments of the day, you recognize your existence, your consciousness, your presence here. It is like that meme, that moment when you gain consciousness, that moment when you realize that you exist. Let that moment be this moment. And you will be lucid even while awake. And Little Wing Nico, thank you for your ginger man and applause. And Kazki, thank you for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. Skip, hello. You share, thanks for the messages I sent you on Instagram. You are very welcome. You know, one of you reached out to me the other day on my email, and it was a business opportunity. And I seriously considered it because it was a brilliant idea. After reading the first few sentences, I thought, yep, this is the next multi-million-dollar idea. What was it? Well, someone invented an app in which you all get to message me or other people on the internet, like celebrities, influencers, and then they get to message you back. And what's the catch? Well, when they send you a message in reply, it's blurry or you only see the first few words, but you have to pay for seeing the rest of the message. And I thought, that's a brilliant idea. No, seriously. Someone's going to make a lot of money off of that. And it does inspire creator and fan interaction and incentivizes that connection. But at the same time, I don't want any of my words to be locked behind a paywall. And although it might take me more time to get back to you all, you are all certainly welcome to message me, and you don't have to pay for me to get back to you. And Joshua, thank you for your friendship necklace. Hari Om Tat Sat. Skip, you say, people are going to say, hello, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for the money. Yeah. And Pino Meow, thank you for your tiny. Yippee! Alright. I have a date with a computer program. I think I worried that I might have scared you all with starting the sentence that way. I am looking forward to continuing programming tonight. It is one of my favorite things to do, an austerity that I take. But before we end tonight's live, I would like to do a couple things with you all. I would like to. How many times can I say I would like to? I would like to ask you all a question of the day. Read from another section of Roar the Ganges. And then a chanting session tonight. Tonight's chanting session will be very easy. Yesterday we did a 20-minute one. Today we'll be doing something, I think it's a shorter 12 or 8-minute one. And all we have to do is say one word, Namaha, which just means salutations too. And thank you, Liz, for your poutine. Yum, yum, yum. Hari Om Tat Sat. And I appreciate that idea, Saturnus. Yes, that makes sense to me. And I think that money does have a purpose in this world, and we can do great things with it. It is just also very tempting that once we get enough money to do something good, I might as well keep it. With great power comes great responsibility. So my question of the day today is very simple. I'm wondering, in what way are we all equal? Hello, I just realized my voice sounds so much richer when I do it from this angle. This angle, it's less rich. Over here, my goodness. Suddenly all the bass is there, isn't it? But yes, we may be different in many ways, but in what ways are we equal? We all have a soul. Yes, I agree, inevitable. We all breathe, says Liz. That breath, that vital essence, that prana is a part of us. We are each human beings, says Nei. Yes, we are. Okay, you share, we all require the same basic necessities of life. That much is true. Kai Bean, you share that we are all equal in worth. We all have the same value. I like that. Cameron Post, you share, we are all born the same way. All human beings. And all in the same boat, living on the same earth. I love that a lot. AI Tim, you ask a good question. Do I have a scientific or psychological purpose for chanting, or is it something else? Well, science is coming to recognize that there are many benefits of chanting, which is not so surprising, considering that it's something that we've surely been doing for 10,000, probably even 100,000 years. You know, before language, I can imagine our ancestors huddled around a fire, rhythmically making sound, either with their voice or with sticks and stones. It is in our very DNA. It is a communal thing we do, and it also focuses our mind. And especially with the advent of language, we can focus it on meaningful words that carry symbolism and reverence. But back to the question of the day. John F. You share that we all need love and to love. Indeed. Renvox, you share that we all yearn to know why. Definitely. And, my goodness, what a username. Narcoleptic Chihuahua Production. You share that we all die. The great equalizer. Saturnus, you share that it doesn't get better than God. We are all God. We are all the best. I like that. Mr. Mate, you share that we are all one, built from the same things. Crossfires, you share that we all want love. And Greg RG, you share what you said earlier, because it's relevant. We all bleed red. Jush, you share that we are all feeling individuals. That is very important, isn't it, to recognize? Chris, you share that we are all in the process of the biggest picture. I like that. Well put. And Ruby, you share that we all had the chance to exist, simple and beautiful. That is so simple and so beautiful. Thank you for putting it that way. Veronica, you ask, should you do the Bhagavad Gita or the whole Mahabharata? You should start with the Bhagavad Gita. It is the essence of the Mahabharata, anyway. The whole Mahabharata, that'll take you a long time to read. The Mahabharata is 10 times longer than Homer's Iliad and Odyssey put together, which by their own are some of the longest epics in Western literature. The Mahabharatam is just a selection from that book. The whole Mahabharatam, you take this Bhagavad Gita and you imagine stacking 100 copies above it and 100 copies below it. Don't overwhelm yourself. And thank you, Renvox, for your snowboard. Hari Om Tat Sat. You say love, Michael Gorman? Yes. We are the same in love. Abel, you share mind for understanding, consciousness. Yes. And Yaneza, you ask how are souls created? Simple answer, they are not. Kiroro no of you share that at times we all feel alone, and we are all equally together in that. I love that. Joanna, you share that we are all deserving of love. And Burnt Cake, you share that to love is to be changed. To be changed is to be loved. I like that. Mahina, you share that we are all here for learning, to learn what we didn't learn in our past lives. Well said. Suzanne, you share that you're feeling my soul, feeling happy with yourself, and happiness and kindness, joy, my voice warm. Such a wonderful bundle of words, Suzanne. Thank you for your positive sentiments. Chrissy, you share that all life needs God's love. Zoe Prince, you share that we are all trying to make it in this crazy world. That is true. Ruby, you ask, do I believe in some God, something that is far from our understanding? How about the closest thing to our understanding? That part of us that does understand itself. I believe in that. And perhaps that is not so different from our very source. And thank you, PT Greek, for your love. Anna, you share that we are all equal in our potential of growth. And PT Greek, you share that we are all brothers and sisters. And Sadie Dream Girly, you share that this earth belongs to each one of us. And politicians need to stop wars. I think it is up to us to be representatives of our own self. When our elected representatives don't seem to represent us, then that change must happen from within, not from without. Chrissy, you share that life is a mystery. We are all energy. And Jush, you share that we all perceive reality just from a different body's perspective. I like that. Alright. There are so many wonderful ways in which we are the same. So I thank you everyone for participating in this exploration of who we are as equal potentials, equal sources and recipients of love, equal souls, equal consciousness, equal participants in this game of life, and equal shareholders for this world. So thank you everyone for reminding me of all the ways in which we are one, and waste of time. Thank you for your heart me and hand heart. And Angie, thank you for your rose. Hariom Tatsa. Now, why don't we read from another section of Roar of the Ganges? In this book, we've been following the life of Mark, who has recently become Swami Tadatmananda, the book's author. He had renounced his worldly identity and taken on a spiritual one as a renunciate who dedicates their lives now to spiritual liberation. Last time, we read a short story about waves in the ocean, and there was this girl wave that was afraid of crashing onto the shore and dying. But a wise old wave reminded that girl wave that we are all made of water, and although a wave may come to die, your essential nature as that water remains unchanged. This analogy was given to Richard, who was a British student of this ashram, who had asked Swami Dayananda, the guru, what is the difference between God and the absolute nature of reality, of Ishvara and Brahman. That's a really great story, Richard exclaimed. It's a traditional story, Swami Dayananda replied, but I have taken many liberties with it to bring out some points. You have probably guessed that the wise old wave had traveled all the way from the Indian Ocean. Unrestrained laughter broke out among all of us gathered for satsang. Then, Swami Dayananda explained, the ocean represents Ishvara, the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the universe. And thank you, Sky Guardian. I did forget to minimize the question of the day. Maybe listeners to this section will also like to think about the answer to such a question. The ocean represents Ishvara, the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the universe. A wave is born of the ocean, sustained by the ocean, and returns to the ocean. In the same way, we are born of Ishvara, since he is the material of which everything is made. We are sustained by Ishvara, since he is the intelligence pervading the universe as the laws of nature, the law of cause and effect, and the laws of karma. And finally, we will return to Ishvara when this cycle of creation comes to an end and the universe becomes unmanifest. All waves exist within the ocean and are non-separate from the ocean. From their perspective, the ocean is all-pervasive. In this way, Ishvara is all-pervasive. Everything that exists, sentient and insentient, including you and me, is non-separate from Ishvara. All this is true, and yet there is another point of view, a more profound truth. Ocean and waves are just forms of water, but those forms are impermanent and constantly changing, and both ocean and waves are utterly dependent on water for their existence. Finally speaking, ocean and waves are nothing but water. Water is what truly exists. Ocean and waves only appear to exist. Vedanta and modern physics agree here on one very important point. The world in which we live is not as real as it seems. Everything is made of buzzing particles and vibrating energy. All that appears to us in the world can be very deceptive. Take this cloth for existence, he said, holding the orange fabric of his dhoti. This cloth is made of thread. If I were to unravel it, the cloth would be gone, and only the thread would remain. Cloth is merely a form of thread, but forms are not things. They are not substances. In fact, forms are nothing but ideas, concepts. Thread, on the other hand, exists as a tangible thing. So instead of calling this cloth, it would be more accurate to say that it is a form of thread. In fact, it is nothing but thread. But then, these threads themselves are made of fibers. Thread is a form of fibers. Fibers are the content of thread. But then fibers are made of something else. Cells, I suppose. So, fibers are a form of cells, but those cells are made of molecules, and molecules are made of atoms, and atoms are made of particles, and particles are made of something else. You can understand that such a process of division has no end. Every form can be reduced further, and every form depends on something else for its existence. Swami Dayananda explained that the world we perceive is a world of forms, a world of ideas. Yet there must be some kind of reality underlying the world of forms, because no form can exist without some kind of substance. World cannot exist without a fundamental reality whose existence is independent of the world. That reality is called Brahman. He continued, "Let us return to the story now. A wave is merely a form of water. It is really nothing but water. And the ocean, too, is a form of water. It is nothing but water. Therefore, water is the truth of both wave and ocean. Water is the underlying reality because of which they both exist. And in the same way, Brahman is the truth of everything. It is the underlying reality for the universe and for Ishvara, the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of the universe. Satsang soon came to an end. Swami Dayananda disappeared into his cottage to prepare to leave for New Delhi. I saw Vijay sit down on a nearby bench, and I joined him. He spoke with his heavy accent. Swamiji is saying that modern physics is the same thing as Vedanta, but I am not understanding what is modern physics. It's not all that complex, I assured him. The teachings of modern physics and Vedanta are very different, but they overlap in one important area. Both show how the physical world is not as real as it seems to be. Both show how the world we perceive is only an appearance, a manifestation of an underlying reality. I used the bench we sat on as an example, explaining, this bench is made of solid wood. But how solid is this wood? Wood is made of atoms, and according to physics, each atom consists of a tiny nucleus of protons and neutrons with a number of even smaller electrons buzzing around it. And between the nucleus and the electrons, there is a lot of empty space. Each atom is 99.999% empty space. Therefore, the bench we're sitting on is 99.999% empty space. That is amazing to me, Vijay remarked. Then even the ground beneath our feet is being mostly empty space. I agreed, adding, nothing in the world is as real as it seems. Even time and space are not absolutely real. That is what Einstein discovered 50 years ago. Now closer to 100. Vijay asked, are scientists finding what is inside electrons and particles? Yes, I answered. They continue to reduce particles to still smaller particles. Their theories and experiments become more and more complex, but they don't seem to arrive at a final truth. The deeper they inquire, the more layers of complexity they uncover. I don't think they will ever discover a basic building block for the universe. I am laughing at Chrissy, who is complimenting me as I read this, but I have to remind you that these words come from this book. I will pass on your compliments to the chef, to the one who has cooked up this meal for you. This meal of spiritual nutrition. They can never be finding it, Vijay declared, because what they are seeking is Brahman. They can never be discovering Brahman through scientific experiments and theories. Upanishads teach that Brahman is understood only through negation. Neti neti. Not this, not this. You must first be dismissing the reality of all forms by... I just turned the page. Neti neti. Not this, not this. Then, only can you be discovering Brahman, the underlying reality of every form. Maybe, I suggested, science is doing the negation. As it explores the universe, it shows how everything we encounter is not what it seems, not absolutely real. Science dismisses the reality of everything it examines by reducing it to something else. That may be so, Vijay replied, but science can never be discovering Brahman because Brahman is not some worldly thing. The Taittiriya Upanishad says that Brahman is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. It is Satyam, the underlying reality. It is Jnanam, pure consciousness. And it is Anantam, limitless. When you are negating all forms, what is finally remaining is pure consciousness. the consciousness of the person who is doing the negating. Only in that consciousness can Brahman be discovered. Vijay observed, I am thinking the scientists' search to be very ironic. They are looking for the underlying reality, but they are looking in the wrong places. Brahman is only being discovered inside, within themselves, in their own consciousness. If a scientist is looking through microscopes to seek that reality, he will be searching for years and years. He will never be finding what he is looking for because he is actually looking for himself. And we'll pause our reading there for now. I love physics. Always happy when I hear the overlap between physics and spirituality. It reminds me of my own experience with physics and coming to know that many of the forefathers of modern physics, like Niels Bohr, Erwin Schrödinger, Max Planck, and many others, Robert Oppenheimer, they all had a deep appreciation for the Upanishads, Vedanta, or the Bhagavad Gita. There are many lovely quotes from them. So I think it is no coincidence that modern physics does have such an overlap with spirituality, when such physicists had a spiritual side. Mind you, they took their work very seriously, but they still had a curiosity for other perspectives. And they made great discoveries. Now, I thank you to Tatvamasi for your quintet of roses you sent a few minutes ago. Radhe Radhe and Ruby, thank you for your pair of roses and your pair of love yous and another trio of roses I see. Jai Sita Ram and Shakira, thank you for your tiny. Yahoo! And Sydney, thank you for your heartmate. Radhe Radhe. And I love that quote, Chrissy. But in spirit we do not feel our weight or the hardness of the chair. Well said. And Little Wing Nico, thank you for your popcorn, your disco love, your Rosa, your GG, a fire, a TikTok, an ice cream, a whipped coffee, balloons, a tiny, yippee, cloud bread, a ginger man, a finger heart, an ice cream cone. Thank you. You are making me hungry. Although I did have ice cream today. I had a banana split. Maybe not my best breakfast choice, but one that I couldn't pass on. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Little Wing Nico, you share that you just wanted to hear me say all the gifts in my lovely voice. Now you are being selfish. I forgive you. Miss Mariah, you share, we're adults, ice cream can be breakfast. Yes, yes. My adult brain loves it, but my adult stomach does not. And thank you, Joanna, for your baker's dozen worth of roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. Before we go tonight, I have a chanting session. We'll be doing 108 names for Swami Narayan, who is the, I was going to say the main character of the Vajana Amrut, the one sitting here before his devotees, giving various discourses on the Sanatana Dharma. 108 is a very sacred number, and so there's a lot of lovely Sanskrit for us to listen to. Now, we'll have a video playing for the duration of this chanting, and the only word we have to say at the end of each name for Swami Narayan is Namaha, which just means salutations to him. And if you are uncomfortable with such a thing, please, you do not have to. This is out of respect for Sky Guardian's lineage as a child being brought up in the BAPS, Swami Narayan, Stansta, if I say that right, Stanstaha. I forget the exact Sanskrit word. Let me double check what it is in case I butcher it. Sanstaha, that's it. The BAPS Swami Narayan Sanstaha. I should really look at what the meaning of Sanstaha is so I can lock it into my noggin. But without further ado, I'm going to be minimizing the background noise. Background music, I should say. And maximize the video which we'll be listening to. Alright. I think I've got it set up here. There. Oh, I'm not sure what that is. Seems, my ad blocker has been updated. Okay. I was like, that's not the tab that I had prepared. Let me get the right tab for us. Here we go. All right. Greg RG, you share that Sanstaha means contentment or satisfaction, according to Google. That's lovely. I like that.
अथ सहजानंद नामावली पाठः ओम श्री स्वामी नारायणाय नमः। ओम श्री साक्षादक्षर पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। ओम श्री परब्रह्मणे नमः। ओम श्री भगवते नमः। ओम श्री पुरुषोत्तमाय नमः। ओम श्री अक्षरधाम वासाय नमः। ओम श्री दिव्य सुंदर विग्रहाय नमः। ओम श्री साकाराय नमः। ओम श्री द्विभुजाय नमः। ओम श्री अनादये नमः। ओम श्री साकाराक्षर सेविताय नमः। ओम श्री दिव्यासनोपविष्टाय नमः। ओम श्री अनंत मुक्त पूजिताय नमः। ओम श्री सर्वकर्ण शक्ताय नमः। ओम श्री समर्थाय नमः। ओम श्री भक्ति नंदनाय नमः। ओम श्री दिव्य जन्मने नमः। ओम श्री महाराजाय नमः। ओम श्री दिव्य कर्मणे नमः। ओम श्री महामतये नमः। ओम श्री नारायणाय नमः। ओम श्री घनश्यामाय नमः। ओम श्री नीलकंठाय नमः। ओम श्री तपः प्रियाय नमः। ओम श्री अनासक्ताय ॐ श्री तपस्विने ॐ श्री अलिप्ताय ॐ श्री भक्तवत्सलाय ॐ श्री नैकमोक्षार्थयात्राय ॐ श्री सर्वात्मने ॐ श्री दिव्यताप्रदाय ॐ श्री स्वेच्छाधृतावताराय ॐ श्री सर्वावतारकारणाय ॐ श्री ईश्वरेशाय ॐ श्री स्वयं सिद्धाय ॐ श्री भक्तसंकल्पपूरकाय ॐ श्री संतीर्णसरयूवारये ॐ श्री हिमगिरिवनप्रियाय ॐ श्री पुलहाश्रमवासिने ॐ श्री पवित्रीकृतमानसाय ॐ श्री साक्षराय ॐ श्री सहजानन्दाय ॐ श्री सर्वानन्दप्रदाय ॐ श्री प्रभवे ॐ श्री प्रणीत दिव्य सत्संगाय ॐ श्री हरिकृष्णाय ॐ श्री सुखाश्रयाय ॐ श्री सर्वज्ञाय ॐ श्री सर्वकर्त्रे ॐ श्री सर्वभर्त्रे ॐ श्री नियामकाय ॐ श्री सदा सर्वसमुत्कृष्टाय ॐ श्री शाश्वत शान्तिदायकाय ॐ श्री धर्मसुताय ॐ श्री सदाचारिणे ॐ श्री सदाचार प्रवर्तकाय ॐ श्री सधर्म भक्ति संगोप्त्रे ॐ श्री दुराचार विदारकाय ॐ श्री दयालवे ॐ श्री कोमलात्मने ॐ श्री परदुःखासहाय ॐ श्री मृदवे ॐ श्री संत्यक्त सर्वथा हिंसाय ॐ श्री हिंसावर्जित यागकृते ॐ श्री सकल वेदवेद्याय ॐ श्री वेद सत्यार्थबोधकाय ॐ श्री वेदज्ञाय ॐ श्री वेदसाराय ॐ श्री वैदिक धर्मरक्षकाय ॐ श्री दिव्यचेष्टाचरित्राय ॐ श्री सर्वकारणकारणाय ॐ श्री अन्तर्यामिणे ॐ श्री सदा दिव्याय ॐ श्री ब्रह्माधीशाय ॐ श्री परात्पराय ॐ श्री दर्शिताक्षरभेदाय ॐ श्री जीवेशभेददर्शकाय ॐ श्री मायानियामकाय ॐ श्री पञ्चतत्त्वप्रकाशकाय ॐ श्री सर्वकल्याणकारिणे ॐ श्री सर्वकर्मफलप्रदाय ॐ श्री सकलचेतनोपास्याय ॐ श्री शुद्धोपासनबोधकाय ॐ श्री अक्षराधिपतये ॐ श्री शुद्धाय ॐ श्री शुद्धभक्तिप्रवर्तकाय ॐ श्री स्वामिनारायणेत्याख्य दिव्यमन्त्रप्रदायकाय ॐ श्री स्वप्रतिमा प्रतिष्ठाकृते ॐ श्री स्वसम्प्रदायकारकाय ॐ श्री प्रस्थापित स्वसिद्धान्ताय ॐ श्री ब्रह्मज्ञानप्रकाशकाय ॐ श्री गुणातीतोक्तमाहात्म्याय ॐ श्री अक्षरात् सर्वात्मैक्यप्रबोधकाय ॐ श्री मूलाक्षरगुणातीत स्वरूप परिचारकाय ॐ श्री भक्तिलभ्याय ॐ श्री कृपासाध्याय ॐ श्री भक्तदोष निवारकाय ॐ श्री शास्त्रे स्थापित सब्रह्म धातु मूर्तये ॐ श्री अलौकिकाय ॐ श्री ब्रह्मद्वारक प्राकट्याय ॐ श्री सम्यगक्षर संस्थिताय ॐ श्री समाधिकारकाय ॐ श्री निखिल पापनाशकाय ॐ श्री सर्वतंत्र स्वतंत्राय ॐ श्री माइक गुणवर्जिताय ॐ श्री दिव्यानंत गुणाय ॐ श्री अनंत नामने ॐ श्री अक्षर पुरुषोत्तम महाराजाय ॐ श्री गुणातीतानंद स्वामी महाराजाय ॐ श्री भगत जी महाराजाय ॐ श्री शास्त्री जी महाराजाय ॐ श्री योगी जी महाराजाय ॐ श्री प्रमुख स्वामी महाराजाय ॐ श्री महंत स्वामी महाराजाय
So thank you everyone for joining me in chanting 108 names of Swami Narayana, a great being at the turn of the 19th century. And thank you, Cole, for your 10 roses. Hari Om Tat Sat. And Edmo, thank you for your heart me. Jai Sita Ram. And Marla, thank you for your rose. Little Wing Nico, you share that with great power comes great responsibility, says Spider Yam. Is that my name now? Spider Yam? Thank you, Kayla, for your quintet of roses too. Radhe Radhe. As always, I will be uploading the recording of this live stream to my Yamsox Lives YouTube channel, in case there is any part of this that you feel like you could get more out of. And, pardon me, I've written a program that takes the video and chapters it up into the topics that you want to click on in the description. If ever you're interested in replaying a certain question, I hope to keep refining this program to give you the best experience. And besides that, Sky Guardian has volunteered to clip out the chantings and the readings, so they're in their own dedicated playlists if you're interested there, as well as the fact that all of the interviews that I've ever been on is also hosted there now. So there's a lot of fun stuff there. And right now I am setting up other accounts on, Odyssey and Rumble. Just for funsies, to just give the internet some more options on how they want to tune into me. And there's also my Yamsox ASMR channel, in which we've been reading through the Bhagavad Gita, whispered style with rain sounds. And I've done a talking you down from an anxiety attack video there, if that's something that resonates with you. And a chanting tutorial. And I hope to be doing a guided meditation series on the ASMR channel as well. Besides that, there are the Yamsox that are on my microphone, but can also be on your feet if you want them. You don't have to. Or there's the tiny tiny beanie. Yippee! Both of these ridiculous articles of apparel are available on the store section of the link tree in my bio. Right now, although I'm not in need of any money, I am saving up for a trip to India. That's pretty much the only thing that I am saving up for right now. And I very much look forward to that opportunity to expand my comfort zone and to experience new cultures besides my own. And I thank you all for helping me fund my dream, and I hope to take you all with me. And thank you up the freeway for your heart me. Hari Om Tat Sat. Kristen, you ask, how could one of you get a hold of me to send mail easily? Well, you are welcome to message me privately. I don't have a P.O. box since that costs money, but you are welcome to message me on other platforms and we can continue that idea. And no, I have not traveled abroad anywhere else, Hannah, so it'll be a new experience for me. I am not only excited but also terrified. But I'm doing it also to face my fear. So I can go somewhere where, my parents can't come and just swoop me up and save me if anything goes wrong. I gotta become independent that way. Sakura, you share that you're scared to message me. Well, I don't bite. You also don't have to. Don't feel obligated to. But if there are any questions which I cannot answer here, you are welcome to ask me more privately, and I will try my best to respond to you as soon as I can. So, with that, I thank you all for being here today and for giving me the opportunity to relate in my limited experience of this life, and I am so grateful for this blessing you all lent me of hosting such a space. Thank you. Let this be a live stream that is offered like the leaves of the Tulasi plant at the feet of Sri Radha Krishna, the all-attractive form of the divine feminine and masculine, Purusha Prakriti, Shakti Shaktiman. Radhe Krishna, Radhe Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Radhe Radhe, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Shyam Shyam, Radhe Radhe. And thank you, little wing Nico. And thank you, Joanna, for your quintet of tiny tinies. Yippee! May you all have a beautiful rest of your present moment.